Okay, before I start the story, I just want to say that you should be very careful when driving out late at night, especially when you have your permit. Um, it's just something to look out for um, when you're first starting to drive. Anyway, so the story starts off a few years ago. I think I was like 15. I just got my permit, and I came home from this movie premiere late at night, 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and I get home and my dad's outside just waiting for me, and he's just hammered, like completely drunk. And this is before he kind of quit. My dad quit drinking, and then you know went through this whole new path of sobriety. But this is before he stopped drinking, so he was just like completely wasted. And he was like, "Oh, let's go drive. Let's go in the car and drive." It was 2 in the morning, but I was like, "All right, whatever. Let's go drive." So we take off, and our goal is just to drive around in the neighborhood, so it wasn't really too much of a worry. So we they're basically coming out of our cul-de-sac. You can either take a left or a right, and taking a right, you go into like the shopping areas and out of our neighborhood, and going left, it's basically a dead end, just another bunch of houses and shit. So we take the left turn, and the left turn breaks in. It branches off eventually into three other cul-de-sacs, and the one on the right, the one that we ended up going down, was like the sketchiest one. It was the one that was like notoriously bad. It was really really bad, and it was infamous for being the worst cul-de-sac on the block. And so we decided to go down there anyway, at 2 in the morning. So we finally get down there, and we see two guys just standing there in the middle of the road, like, and just chilling there. And we turn around. I'm like, all right, let's just take this really nice and soft. Hopefully, like, we won't cause any trouble. We won't do this. We won't do anything. I was like, Dad, let's just play it cool. And he's like, all right, yeah, cool. So right when we're turning around, my dad's like, don't worry, I got this. He rolls down the window and yells, student driver, like it's okay, like we have a student driver, like just don't mind us. And I'm like, what the fuck, like shut the fuck up. And so all of a sudden my dad's just like, all right, just stop the car, because obviously my eyes are on the road. I didn't really know what was going on when he said that. So he's like, just stop the car. And he rolls up the window, and all I hear is a thud, like on my dad's window side. And I'm like, fuck, like what's going on? And the guy's like, roll down the window. And my dad rolls down the window. He's like, get the fuck out of the car. And I'm like, oh god. So we get out of the car, right? We get out of the car, and he's just like, what the fuck are you doing down here? Like, really serious. And he has my dad, so I'm like on right next to my dad, and he has my dad pinned against the car. So I'm like on the car, just kind of like freaked out of my mind, like about to shit like on the verge of shitting my pants. Like I was so like so scared, like the scariest moment right here. Like just didn't know what to do. He literally had my dad pinned up. He's like, what the fuck are you doing down here? Like very very like had no really reason of being, just kind of like, I guess he thought that we were just disturbing something that he was about to do, or like interrupting something that he was going to do. And he's like, just don't worry. Like my dad, of course, was like completely, I don't know what he was on. Most likely it was just alcohol, but it could have been drugs too. I don't know. But like he was just like, don't worry. Like it's okay. I'm sorry. Like we're just taking the kid out for a night drive. Like it's okay. He said, what the fuck? I don't fucking care. Like what are you doing down here? Blah blah blah. And obviously, of course, I was like on the verge of tears, just about to cry. And he looks at me and then looks back at my dad, and then all of a sudden he gets like really happy, and he's like, oh, it's okay, I'm sorry, we live down here, This is the guy talking, and the other guy like is just kind of like minding his own business. He's just kind of like on the corner, just shaking his head like, what the fuck is this dude doing? And then all of a sudden he gets like really mad again, and he starts like freaking out, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Like it was such a weird experience, but at the same time I was just so fucking scared. And he was just like, okay, like just get out of here, just fucking get out of here, like just fucking leave. And I'm like, oh shit, like okay, we'll get out of here. And then we get in the car, fucking drive out of there, and I've never seen them again. And my dad called the house the next day, because he said where he lived, like he pointed to the house that he lived at, or quote unquote lived at. And my dad called the house, and no one was like, it was no one that he had heard of. Like it was just like it the guy that was like that like pinned my dad up. The guy that like the two dudes, like one was black, one was white. The black guy was the guy that was getting all crazy at us, and the guy picked up. He called the house and he picked up. It was like some white dude, and he was like he'd never heard of the dude that my dad described or that we described. It was kind of like really weird. So it's probably like we had stopped a burglary in the making, but that could have been, I don't know, that could have been something else. You know, it was probably a drug. It most likely was a drug deal, because the other dude had no idea what was going on either. He was just kind of like chilling there. Obviously like didn't want to get caught or like get the cops called on him. So like I think it was either like they were trying to break in or like it was a drug deal. Most likely it was a drug deal. But yeah, that was probably the scariest moment of my life. Just very, very like I had no idea what was going to happen, and again, I was 15 at the time, so it was very scary. But yeah, that was my almost near-death experience. I hope this story was kind of entertaining for at least some of you. If it was, please subscribe, and I'll be trying to make more of these soon. All right, see ya.